Hello, and welcome to My Streaming Bubble, the podcast where I talk about the streamable media I love with the people I tolerate. I'm your TV watching and talking host, Jen, and today, Carla from OK Real Quick and my podcast brain twin, Erin from It's a Fandom Thing, and my co-host for Twin It to Win It are back in the bubble as we three wild women of podcasting have reunited to talk about the 90s, TV shows, and so much more, all because I saw the TV glow. Welcome back, my fellow wild women of podcasting. Woo!
Woo woo!
Hello.
Bow, bow, bow.
I feel like we need to have some sort of because we can't have a handshake since we're in different time zones.
We can do signs.
I was gonna say little gang signs, little wild women of podcasting gang signs.
Oh yeah, I can still do the old West Side. Okay, that's better. Because it's just three.
Wild women, and then something can be the P.
Sorry, that part could be taken totally different ways.
Yes, yeah,
so many ways.
It also works for wild women of podcasting after dark.
Yes,
exactly. See,
bring out those porn bots.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Jen. It's like that's how
You're
you get porn
welcome.
bots.
Of course you were thinking that. I was thinking it. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll have you guys share all your podcast stuff at the end because I realized I was kind of making people do that twice, and that's redundant. So I won't do that anymore. So we're going to go ahead and get right into talking about this movie. I saw the TV glow. So this is your official spoiler warning. If you haven't seen this and you don't want it spoiled, pause the pod, watch the thing, and then come back. Welcome back. So before we get to chatting, content warnings for body horror, self-harm. I'm guessing probably discussions surrounding suicide. I think those were kind of the big ones. Anything else I might have missed? Women?
Transphobia.
Transphobia.
Gender dysphoria.
Yep. Those are really big ones, aren't they?
A little bit.
All right. What IMDb says, in late 90s suburbia, a lonely teenager meets a girl at school who introduces him to a mysterious late-night TV show. As time goes on, however, questions begin to arise about why the show sometimes seems more real than their own lives. And what I says about this movie, I says, it kind of makes me sad. I really like it, but it kind of breaks my heart.
Yeah, fair.
This movie was written and directed by Jane Schonenbrunn and stars Justice Smith as Owen, Jack Haven as Maddie, Ian Foreman as young Owen, Helena Howard as Isabel, Lindsay Jordan as Tara, and many more, like Fred Durst. That happened.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Big surprise. Why is this man on my TV?
Yeah. Odd. Okay. It is streamable on Prime. You can rent or buy it. But more importantly, it is free at your local library. So, and then just real quick before we get started, a quick disclaimer that I, a straight, will not have the same level of insight and understanding on this movie as a trans person or anyone of the LGBTQIA community. So please excuse any misinterpretations. My fellow wild women, feel free to correct me if I misspeak. I do try and choose my words carefully. I do believe words matter. But I am just a human being, and I can sometimes still flub up and say dumb things. So, feel free to correct me, but please do it nicely because I'm sensitive. All right. With that said, Carla, what are your general thoughts on the movie?
First of all, just addressing the Fred Durstness in this movie, I just want to point out that he did it all for the allyship. I needed to get that out there. It's been just sitting there, and it was going to just make me laugh the entire time if I couldn't just go out and say it. So, that is. Thank goodness. And I want to just mention that when I'm talking about the movie and about the characters, I'm going to be referring to Owen as Isabel. I'm going to be using she her pronouns. For Tara, Maddie, I'm going to be using she, they pronouns. And I'm going to be primarily referring to them as Tara. And that's because I think that's what the movie really is about. It's about these two people who, as children, find community with each other because they don't really have that outside of each other. They have very difficult family dynamics. And with Isabel, after her mother passes away, she's with her dad, who is not particularly an understanding person, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But there's that. And then with Tara has an abusive stepfather who, you know, when they decide to run away, it's partly to become who they saw themselves as being deep down inside, but also to get away from an abusive household. And I think it's so sad that it's a common story in real life, that there are far too many kids who find themselves in difficult situations that they can't easily escape. But even beyond escaping, they can't easily live with. And, you know, when people talk about the suicide rates within the LGBTQIA plus community, a lot of people discuss it as, you know, these people are just, they're deep down unhappy and they're broken inside. And this is why we need to, I don't know, talk them around to being not who they are. But it's not that, it's society. Society is keeping people from being who they are. And the fact that it's everywhere and it's so hard to escape, even in more accepting communities, you know, like, say what you will about blue states and how, you know, progressive some of them are and how some cities are, they feel more safe and more sanctuary-like and everything. But there are still going to be pockets of horrible people within them. And there are still going to be people who give lip service to the idea of allyship. But when it comes to following through, there is none of that. And it's more saying, I accept you for who you are, but could you please not be that right now? And that's, I don't think it's necessarily better than outright all of the isms and phobias. Mm-hmm. Because then that's giving somebody a tenuous place to land where at any point you could flip on them. And it's that waiting game of like, when is the other shoe going to drop? When am I going to feel unsafe around you? And it's a very stressful position to find yourself in on an ongoing basis. And I think, you know, in this country, you know, the three of us live in the US, all of us are, because we have consciences, all of us are very stressed on an ongoing basis because of all of the things that are going on around us, and not even just to us directly, but to people around us that we care about, not because we know them, but because they're humans and we care about the well-being of humans. And thinking about how much stress we feel and how sad and put upon we feel by the government as it is, take that and add all of the things that come with being transgender and being, you know, anything. Transgender is such a big umbrella, and you know, it's an imperfect term, but it's sometimes the best we can do is deal with imperfect, and trans is an imperfect term. But you know, you add being trans and you add being queer in some way, and life gets exponentially harder and more difficult to feel safe and to find joy. And that's what I think the movie really tries to tackle. And I think it does a great job. I think it's one of the things that I think is great about art that represents a particular community, particularly when it comes to niche communities, or not quite niche, but like a community that is very underrepresented in mainstream media, is that when it's a piece of art that you can relate with, even if you're not part of that particular marginalization, right? And this movie, you don't have to be trans to find a way to relate to it, because there are plenty of people who are living inauthentic lives who feel trapped within those lives, whether it's because you decided to girl boss it because the 90s were, the early 2000s were all about girl bossing, and you girl bossed your way into a position where you feel trapped because, golden handcuffs. And that's not really what you want, but now what do you do about it? Or if you married young because it's what you grew up seeing and what was in your community as the right thing to do. And now what do you do when you're in your 30s and 40s and feel trapped? All of us can find something to relate to with this movie. I think that it's very telling that one of the few moments in which Isabel really seems to, because Isabel throughout the entire movie, and this is an amazing and tragic portrayal, because Isabel is always just very, the emotions seem to range from very sad to kind of sad. But the one moment where there's a bit of happiness in her face is when she has that pink dress on and she has like that little smile. And, it breaks my heart that like that's the one little moment, but she doesn't take the next step, the same step that Tara did, of breaking away from the familiar and the safe, because there is safety in hiding if you can mask and hide enough. It's killing you though. It's killing you on a below the surface level, but on the surface it looks like you're thriving. But she has that brief moment of actual real happiness that comes across and breaks that surface. And it's a brilliant, I think it's wonderful acting by everybody, but I think Justice Smith just does such a wonderful job of conveying all of this throughout the film. And Jack Haven, I think, one of the things that I think is interesting with the performance for Tara is the voice, because Tara's voice is pitched low throughout the movie. And if you think about it, Isabel's voice is very breathy and throaty, and they both, it adds to that sense of being in a fantasy, in something that's outside of the realm of reality, because these seem like choices made for these specific characters for a reason. And to me, that reason is, trying to like perform gender in a certain way, but not quite making it because that's not really who you are. Another moment that hit me very hard, especially on the rewatch, was when Isabel is having the breakdown in the bathroom, because I think it's very interesting to me that she's living this life, but inside there's another reality. And when those two clash and she breaks down, I have to wonder how often this happens. And this is like the one time that we get to witness it, because this is a very isolated and isolating experience for her, where she is locking herself away somewhere where nobody can see her. And she cuts her chest open and gives herself just a minute to really be herself. And that's like, maybe she's, taking a moment to put on a dress in the closet at home, or just, shopping secretly on a website and then deleting the browser history because she can't really be herself. But the reason that it matters to me that it was in this bathroom is that it's in a public restroom. And we have these ridiculous anti-trans laws for bathrooms and who gets to use what bathroom. And that to me, I think, I don't know if I don't know that it was a purposeful choice. It seemed to me like it would have been, because it just makes sense to me that it's a commentary on public restrooms, who gets to use them, what the gender is of the person inside. Because she may be male presenting as she's going into this men's bathroom, but inside she's Isabel.
Mm-hmm.
And she's falling apart, and she's dying on the inside, and she's apologizing for it
Mm-hmm.
because she leaves the bathroom and she apologizes for her breakdown, which we know she shouldn't have to, but she doesn't seem to know that she shouldn't have to. She has been given the opportunity not once, but a few times in her life to break out of that existence, but she's too scared to embrace it the way that Tara did. And Tara, her running away and her paying somebody to bury her and her coming back, it's not just coming back, it's a rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
So she's reborn by her own doing. Like, she's, to me, paying somebody to bury you, it's like, maybe you pay somebody to give you new papers with your new name, with your new identity, and to like bury your digital past or whatever that may be. And coming back and trying to save Isabel from this existence that she's kind of been boxed into, but also boxed herself into. And Isabel repeatedly not taking that lifeline. And that very last lifeline of Tara having written that there's still time, that, I just kind of fell apart at that because
Oh yeah.
that says everything right there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks for telling us the movie. And
Oh, sorry.
No, you're all
I'm
good.
just like, I have so much to say about this.
I know. And Erin, what are your general thoughts on the movie?
Well, my general thoughts are, this movie, when I first watched it, it had a very similar effect on me as Donnie Darko did. And they're not even close to the same movie, but it's because they are two very unique movies that are looking at being a teenager and feeling out of place as a teenager and as a child and growing up and never being able to find your footing and then trying to save yourself and your world and trying to find your place and be okay in that. And, meanwhile, the world feels like it's falling apart and, it's being destroyed by outside forces. And with this one, I think it's more inner forces, but there's still some of those outside forces of like family and expectations, the time period, everything like that. And so that's why I kind of just like, when I first watched this and I bought it like without even seeing it. And I remember finishing it and going, oh my gosh, that's the first time since watching Donnie Darko that I've felt that feeling from watching a movie. And I haven't watched it nearly as much as I watched Donnie Darko at all, not even close, but it had that same kind of impact. And I think, and I do like that how Carla is referring to the characters. So I'm going to continue on that thread. Justice Smith, his performance is so incredible as Isabel because the voice that she uses, the tone of her voice, and especially when she's older and wheezing constantly and can't breathe. And it's that feeling of being suffocated because it's been decades and she's never fully been herself, and no one except for Tara has ever seen her. And when Tara would see her, she'd go through those moments, like that moment when Tara was going to run away and was like, let's go run away together. And Isabel is like, goes to woman who played Tara in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and goes to her house and it's like, you've got to tell my dad that I've been lying because I don't want to run away and I don't want to run away with her. I don't want her to make me do that. And that's because she is not ready to fully be herself. And she's so terrified of that. She's so terrified of her own voice. And I think that's why the voice was very deliberately chosen by Justice. So I think that's very deliberately done. And even like the chapped lips and like just the almost decay and the death of the person. And it is a heartbreaking, absolute tragic story. But I always, and I know a lot of people who view this feel the same way, try to hold on to that it's not too late part, because I think that's a little bit of hope that Jane Schoenberg put in there, that they put in there, because I think maybe, and I mean, I don't know this for sure, but I think maybe they were hoping that people viewing it might take that message and might look at this story and go, okay, it's not too late for me. Maybe I can do what Isabel never got to do. And I think that's part of it. Like, I really highly encourage people to go out and read articles and reviews written by people that are trans, non-binary, people in the community, because I think that is the voice that's the most important to listen to when it comes to this movie. And so I think it's really, really important to listen to that. I know after I saw this movie, I watched so many interviews and TikToks and read reviews. And I think, you know, the stories that came out and the impact this film had on so many people I think that is probably the most important part of this film, is the impact it had on others. I mean, there are stories of people who had detransitioned and then watched this and were like, no, or they were starting to, and they're like, no, I can't do that. So it's stories like that that also prove that art is very, very powerful, and art is very important, and art can literally save and change lives. And I mean, it's not to say that there aren't people in the community that actually don't like this movie, because there are people in the community that don't. So it's also important to listen to those stories and why they don't like this movie. But I do think it's a beautiful thing that it did help so many people, or that it affected people in a positive way, or gave them a sense of hope, because they're like, I don't want to be Isabel. I don't want to be strangling. I don't want to be dying. And and I think with the burying part, what it also, you know, there's so much of that with Tara. It's so much of that rebirth of like, kind of like, I don't mean to associate with Jesus, but that kind of thing, the resurrection of burying yourself and going through hell, quote unquote hell, and then coming out a new person and more yourself. And I think that's what definitely happened with Tara. And it is amazing that Tara was always trying to reach out to Isabel and never really gave up and kept coming back. And that says something right there about the power of connection, because these two had no one they connected to except for each other, really. I think especially for Isabel more than Tara in some respects. And I think maybe that's the age difference too. I think that might be part of it. And then also I think with Isabel, she has a harder time finding her voice in general anyway. And so I think Tara was kind of always the older, more wise, like almost older sibling in a way.
Yeah.
But they are kind of like those soulmates in the friendship and that kind of sense. But I think it is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful movie. And I also think it's a very interesting story also about the power of television as well, and finding shows that you can find yourself in. Because I know for Jane Schoenberg, they loved Buffy, and it's very clearly an homage to Buffy, the Pink Opaque. And they found so much solace when they were younger, and so much, they identified so much with that show. And so I think that's another message into it, is that, you know, how you can find yourself through art and how that should not be dismissed.
Very well put. Both of you, very well put. I'm not much more I can add to all of that, other than I will say, when I sat down to first watch this movie when it came on like HBO last year, 2 years ago, however long it's been, time doesn't exist. Because, you know, I don't always know what's going on in movies, but I was like, I hear good things. I'm going to hit play on this. And then it started. And then as soon as it got, I mean, just right away in the beginning with the parachute. And I was like, well, those are trans flag colors. That's not like your primary color parachute from elementary school. So I was like, okay, it's a trans story, about trans person. And then I was like, oh no, is it going to be a bad one or a good one? I got really nervous after that. And then it just proceeded to break my heart. I think it's a beautiful story. I hate that there are people that feel that way. And it sucks that we live in a world that makes them feel like that. No one should ever feel like that. And that's just, it just breaks my heart that there are so many people that are in Isabella's position. And for continuity and consistency, I too will also stick with Carla's character references. So yeah, and then just like, yeah, and every time Isabella had a chance getting so close to like maybe kind of thinking about it, you can kind of tell, but then that fear grips her and pulls her back. And like, it's so fucking heartbreaking. And when she goes to Johnny's mom or whatever and was like, you got to tell my dad and this and that, like, too afraid to even like come clean to her father. She has to go to someone else that she clearly feels safe enough to go to have them share this, to quote, get her into trouble, is the only way. Like, so she's seeking punishment for herself for even like maybe entertaining the idea of running away or even like knowing. It all around breaks my fucking heart and it makes me so sad. But Justice Smith is amazing in this. And that is a huge part of it. Like between the bathroom scene at the end, even when she watches that final episode of The Pink Opaque and then has that freak out and like trying to shove her head into the television. And then when the dad takes her into the bathroom and she's screaming, this isn't my home. You're not my dad. Like, oh my God. I'm just like, okay, then come here. You come here. It'll be okay. You come here and just give you a hug and you stay here and you're fine. Oh, but yeah, with Justice Smith, just the emotion, because he goes from playing Isabella just very subdued, you can tell, like very despondent, very like detached, kind of just going through the motions. And then these moments where Isabella has just these outbursts and the way the screaming at the end where Isabella's screaming, "Mommy, oh my God."
Oh, yeah.
My heart. Oh, but, and so, yeah, the performances are great. The story is all too familiar, and which makes it double, triple sad. But I think from a straight's point of view, this movie was very well done. Carla, like you said, I think that you don't have to like be trans to relate to this movie. I think all of us on some level are always hiding something. I don't think we are all 100% authentic. And maybe that changes as we get older and whatnot. I know as I've gotten older and I've given less fucks, I'm more myself, which is a lot of fun.
And I think that also comes from a place of safety.
Yes.
Because, we're at an age where we've figured ourselves out. We've surrounded ourselves with people who accept us and who have shown that they love us and that everything that we've put out there authentically has been received and accepted and embraced.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that safety. We also have economic safety. We're all teetering on a bubble because of the economy, but relatively, we're not doing too badly.
Yeah.
We have roofs over our heads. We have food on the daily. We have transportation when we need it. We have access to a lot of we have access to healthcare. We have a lot of things that I think for somebody who is maybe more dependent on somebody else for those things won't feel necessarily, especially if they've been shown like, hey, I'm not going to like you if you tell me who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to be authentic in that sense. So yeah, like we're in a teeny spot of privilege that it's just really crappy that even has to be part of any discussion, because we should all have a home and food and not have our healthcare tied to employment or to somebody else's employment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Agreed. Let's see. I was going to say something and I forgot. Erin, is there anything else that you would like to bring up?
The music. I think the music in this
yeah.
movie is so incredible. Just when you get to watch the this, oh my God, the song, the I Saw the TV Glow song, but I know it's something else, and now I'm forgetting the name of it. But when you watch that being performed, and the fact that Jane Schoenberg, like, they leave like the camera on that, and you're not like instantly like, it's not like background. You get to actually experience the whole, like, you get to write it all out and actually like experience Claw Machine. Sorry, it's called Claw Machine by Sloppy Jane and Phoebe Bridgers. So Phoebe Bridgers, of course, is like an actress that a lot of people love. But the fact that you get to actually experience that song and experience the way that song is performed, I think that song, if you really look at the lyrics, is like a mirror to the movie. So I love that. I think a lot of the soundtrack is so, so good. And I know right after watching this, I just listened to it on repeat, especially the Claw Machine song. And I think because that, especially I think I was born bored, and I think I was born already missing you. And it's just like, there's something about that when you're watching this movie, and even just in real life, that is tragically beautiful. So I think the music is something that is like, kind of like, not the cherry on top, I don't want to say, but like, kind of is. It kind of makes this even better. It's like the hot fudge on the hot fudge sundae.
No, and I love that. I think that's a great point because, yeah, the Claw Machine, that song and the way where it plays, it's so soft. And like you said, it tells the movie in the sense. And it's very much kind of setting up that conversation that Isabella and Tara have, where Tara explains kind of where she's been and everything and all of that. And then when they're leaving, or when that scene is done and they're done at the club and that second band comes on, it's so drastically different from that first band. And it's loud and it's almost like angry and almost like abrasive. And I don't want to say like confusing, but it's like some people might consider loud and abrasive a bit confusing, but I feel like it just really works with that whole scene and what that scene was telling us, from just everything in that club and the double lunch, I think it was called. It was like a perfect music scene sandwich. The opening song pairs well with the kind of beginning of that conversation, and then that second band of the second half of that conversation, and then even going to like the little like planetarium where Tara's playing the constellations, and they go from just being the constellations to then filling in to like the pictures of what they are, all like fleshed out and everything. And I love that whole sequence of everything. So good call on the music, because I really like that Claw Machine song. It was really good. Her voice was so soft and so good. Love it.
I like the screamy song.
You like the screamy song?
I like that one too. I mean, they're all good because they all represent different sides of Isabel and Tara. They represent different things going on, and the angriness and the rage, the inner rage, and Isabel never lets any of that really out, except for a little bit of screaming, like, I'm dying. Please help me, save me. I need help. Please, somebody save me. Except for that, you never see that. So it's that inner rage. So, yeah.
Yep. Well put. Let's see. Carla, what are some of your other thoughts?
So, speaking of the screaming, because the only two times that we really see Isabel kind of lose it are when her dad pulls her out of the TV and then at the very end. And I think it's notable that when her dad's pulling her out of the TV. The first time that I watched the movie, I kind of interpreted it as, this is not a great dad, but he can tell that something is happening with his child. And so he's trying to save his child from doing something drastic. And I think that there is still validity to that interpretation, because I don't think that all parents who are transphobic are not necessarily well-meaning, because the two things can be true at the same time. They may think that they may be doing the right thing for their kid, but they are not doing the right thing for their kid because they're not letting their kid become the person that they are meant to be. So on rewatching it, and I'm watching Fred Durst in this role, it just, listen, it's so jarring, especially the first time we're like, what? What is Fred Durst doing on my television? I did not anticipate this in my lifetime. But here we are. Anyway.
I didn't even know it was him until I was looking in IMDb, and I was like, what?
Listen, I don't even care for his music, but I recognize his face. And I was like, why do I know this man's face? Why does this man's face live in my brain at all? But, whatever. Brain, do what you want, I guess. We don't need the space, apparently. But so Isabel is in the TV trying to get to this other realm, and her dad comes and pulls her out and does like the frazzled parent cool down shower. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Where this thing that is just very physically jarring is supposed to kind of like bring you back and be like, okay, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. But more importantly, you're going to be who I think you should be. And Isabel, for a moment, like she has this one moment where she's actually doing it. She's actually taking those steps that Tara has laid out and has modeled for her and has given her the blueprint, so to speak, to escape this fake reality and move into a reality of her own making. And she's pulled back. And I think that's so similar to the way that parents, friends, society, the church, whatever church it is that you may be a part of, will tell you that, oh no, this view you have of yourself is not real. It's not valid. It's not correct. And so people, even those who may be on the verge of doing what's right for them, end up kind of giving up and saying, well, I just can't do it. It's scary, and it is scary. Nobody's saying that it's not scary because it's terrifying. It's again, leaving that unfriendly but safe space for the unknown that is likely to be better for you in the end, but it's a tough road to get there versus just doing the thing and becoming yourself. So she does try, but is pulled out. And as she's screaming, this isn't real. You're not real. You're not really my father. Contrast that to the breakdown at the end where she's screaming for her mom. And to me, it's because her mom doesn't really get to know her because she dies. So she doesn't really get to know fully who Isabel was. But I think Isabel was pretty sure that her mom accepted her unconditionally and loved her unconditionally. And her mom, I think, had an inkling that something's up with my kid. There's something about my kid that makes them feel like they're not accepted. And I'm going to just be that steady support until they're ready to tell me what it is that they're going through. So Isabel losing her mom so young and then not having another adult to really kind of like fall on, because there's that scene in the car when Isabel's laying down and with her head on her mom's lap, and her dad, that's when her dad is like, oh, that show for girls. And Isabel's mom, she doesn't say anything, but she still holds on to Isabel and is like, it's not that I'm not letting you watch this show because it's for girls. It's because it's past your bedtime, and I'm sure that her mom knew on some level that this kid isn't going to this person's home, but they're safe. They're not doing anything awful. She's watching a TV show. Like, if this is the worst that my kid is doing, oh no, not that, whatever. But that contrast of rejecting or trying to reject the father who's trying to hold her back versus desperately pleading for the mother who would have accepted her and would have seen her, and not only seen her, but seen her through hopefully a transition. It just shattered me, like just the idea, a grown person screaming for their mommy. And often it's kind of like played off as like some funny thing that's like, oh, you're an adult and you're screaming for your mommy. But there's a reason why people do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why people, and it's devastating. But there's something that Isabel says. What if I was someone else, someone beautiful and powerful, someone buried alive and suffocating to death? But I know that's not true. That's just fantasy. And that just encapsulates the entire movie in those few sentences. It really boils it down to its essence. What if, but no. It's hard. And, for me, I don't really care. It's an easy gender life for me because I don't really care about pronouns, so I'm not really hung up on she, her for myself. I don't know that necessarily really fits me or describes me, but I don't care enough to kind of attach myself to different pronouns. And that's not to put down anybody else who does, but I like to... for levity, I call it gender agnostic because I just think it's a funny thing for a Catholic to say. Like, for myself, like I would describe myself as gender agnostic. Like, gender is a construct, I guess, if you want it to be. But for me, I don't really feel like I'm particularly attached to gender for myself. So, but because I'm fine being femme presenting primarily, the times where I'm less femme presenting, I'm still generally identifiable as a woman, and I don't care about pronouns so much. So it's like, so again, for me, it's an easy life. So I don't necessarily have it, and I'm fine with my body as it is. I don't feel like I was born into the wrong body. So my personal identification with the gender dysphoria that Isabel and Tara live with, or Tara did live with, she liberated herself from it, and Isabel lives with it throughout. I understand it theoretically, so I don't have like a full, comprehensive, like deep down understanding of it, but I understand that the body horror that is gender dysphoria, because the few times that I have felt like that have been for me more about what society expects for me to do with my body, not so much about how I relate to myself within this body. And that's, like the questions that I've asked myself are nowhere near on the level with the questions that Isabel asks herself, and the people who are trans and who are non-binary and the people who experience the gender dysphoria. So to see it laid out like this in this movie makes it a lot. It's like gender dysphoria for dummies for those of us who don't experience it.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never understood the concept, if you've never understood it as a thing that people go through, you watch this movie and you're like, oh, okay, I understand it a little bit more now. I'm never going to understand it fully, but I get a deeper picture of it now, something that my mind can kind of hold on to more tightly. And I highly recommend a video by Vera Myers. Vera Wild has a channel called The Council of Geeks on YouTube. It is a delight of a channel, and she covers like a vast range of topics. But she has in particular this video called I saw the TV Glow is a uniquely queer horror. And they don't get into the, themes and symbols and all of that. But they talk a lot about their particular experience with the movie on an emotional level. And the movie made me cry. Vera's video made me bawl. Like, it really, it's a bearing of a soul that is breathtaking and also heartbreaking in and of itself. But I bring it up because people should watch the video. It's a fantastic video. But where the movie lays things out in a very allegorical and artistic way, Vera kind of distills it into just plain terms. And I think that that's something that maybe you're like me. Like, with poetry, I'm not very good with poetry. Like, tell me poetry stuff. That sounds very pretty. I don't know what that means. And maybe I won't investigate it further. But if somebody else can explain it to me, I'll understand it even more and like it even more. And that's kind of like what I'm saying about this video by Vera. And Vera is a trans person, gender fluid, uses she, they pronouns. So this is somebody in the community who is talking about the movie. And like Erin said, seek out the people who are in the community who are making these videos and who are writing these essays and articles, even the ones who don't like the movie, because it's all a valuable experience for the people who are not in the community. Also, I think, just the support, like, share, subscribe, donate, all of those things. I think that matters, especially from an ally standpoint. But yeah, that.
All right. And Erin, anything to follow up all of that, or anything to add or subtract?
I did want to add, because I'm sure people have thought this. So Justice Smith is cisgender, and Justice Smith, and I'm going to be using the word Owen because this is how it was worded. Justice Smith had initial reservations about playing Owen because he strongly believes that transgender actors should play transgender characters. However, director Jane Schoenbrunn explained that Smith's cisgender identity was used as a deliberative narrative device within the film's specific trans allegory. And I just wanted to point that out because I know, and I totally agree with what Justice Smith said. So I think it's important to point that out too, to kind of just say, well, it was done deliberately. There was a deliberate meaning to that. So I just wanted to point that out, just because I know people might be thinking that. So I wanted to just bring that up.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think that's a good point to make. And I feel like everything in this movie is intentional. Nothing is like by chance. So there's the scene where Isabel and her mom are sitting like after outside like the carnival or whatever, and they're just sitting on the bench, and the way that it's framed, like Isabel sits right underneath a sign that says no food. You don't think anything of it, but then she's got her cotton candy and she spits into it, and then it dissolves away, and then it fades into the next scene where she's laying on her mom's lap and everything. And I don't know why, but I'm like, that wasn't an accident. And whether or not it's because Isabel actually ate the cotton candy, or this is the nightmare realm, so nothing's really real. No one has to eat or live life. Time passes very, very differently. And everything, even from that to the casting of Justice Smith, to the music choices, everything about this movie feels like everything has been thought about completely and put in intentionally. And when you watch a movie that has done that, it's kind of fun to watch the dumb stuff and see silly things get thrown in on accident or whatever, like a boom mic here or whatnot. But there's just something also very satisfying and kind of, I don't want to say like a completist, but there's just something very satisfying knowing that every single minute detail was intentional. was planned, has a purpose, big and small. So I agree. I love that. Um, we talk about how transitioning for a trans person, and especially Isabel here, is so terrifying. And again, to the whole like everyone can find something relatable in this movie. It's the fear can be so comforting, no matter how good, no matter what the situation is, that, you might be in a shitty job and that quitting the job is going to be what's best for you. And it's going to open up opportunities to grow and thrive and possibly be better. But again, we've got, our health care, our family's health care, all these things tied to it. So it makes it almost impossible to even entertain the idea, because you're like, well, I have security here. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to start over. What if it doesn't work out? All these kinds of things. So from the very trivial, my job sucks, to the very not so trivial and very real and very heavy of I don't feel right in my own skin. I think everything in between, there's something in this movie that everyone can kind of relate to on some level. Now I had a question quick. Okay, so Isabel is trapped in this nightmare realm put there by Mr. Melancholy, and Isabel's mom dies. And I completely agree. I think Isabel's mom loved her unconditionally and was always going to be there. Even Isabel's mom was like, are you okay? You just feel so distant, like checking in and just making sure. But when the mom dies and Isabel is staying at the house with her dad and everything, I couldn't help but wonder during this last rewatch, like, do you think that could have been something done by Mr. Melancholy? Because at one point, Tara mentions her friend Amanda, in high school, and how Amanda, like, they're no longer friends and this and that. And Tara mentions, like, just a secret agent sent to ruin my life. With that line, and then the passing of Isabel's mom, I was like, was the passing of Isabel's mom a secret agent to ruin Isabel's life, to make her feel more attached, make her feel more stuck in this nightmare realm? Did you pick up on that? What are your thoughts on that, Erin?
I actually didn't. So that's really interesting. No, I think that's what's so great about this film is there's lots of stuff that you might not initially pick up on, or I'd pick up on the third, fourth viewing. I really didn't. But I like that, because I was also, wondering along the same lines, because when we're talking about Isabel's mom, if Isabel's mom hadn't died, what would that have presented itself like for Isabel? Would Isabel have gotten to that point feeling where she could be truly Isabel, or not? That's a big thing to contemplate, because the other thing is that even though Isabel's mom, for everything that was shown, is a loving and warm and beautiful person, but at the same time, there's that other part of like, she's not letting Isabel grow up as quickly as others. Like, she seems very protective of Isabel with the whole, not staying up past 10-15 and feeling kind of, I think Isabel was feeling very like stuck in that, like, I want to be like the others, teenagers, and I want to be able to do this, which is, I'm not insulting the mom at all. I'm just saying that I think there was that side, but I do wonder if the mom had survived, would Isabel have gotten to a point of being Isabel and being able to feel okay in her skin and be like, yeah, I can be who I want to be. And so I think that I think plays into that, because if it is like some other force also like stopping that, then it's like, okay, so many forces, that that people have to deal with, and that trans people have to deal with, of like outside forces trying to negate who they are. So that's an interesting question. I'd never really thought about that part of it before. So perfect. I like that.
Thank you. Carla?
Same. It hadn't occurred to me in that sense, but you're right. It's a really good parallel that, an external force is, to put it in Marvel terms, creating a timeline in which you're deprived of potential support.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also, to Erin's point about Isabel's mom kind of keeping her from having those same experiences as other teens. Yeah, like I don't know at what point that would have led up, at what point, how I interpreted it is as a parent who is scared for their kid and who is already seeing that their kid is different and is just trying to keep them from burning out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And from trying to push themselves into a mold that doesn't really fit them. Because, I think most kids that age want to do the same things as their peers. And for some kids, that might be more detrimental than for others. And there are some parents who rightly recognize it. There are some parents who overthink that. So, yeah, like what could have happened? But that's one of the things with this movie. It's like the what if.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like the Marvel thing of like, we've created this timeline. Or this is how it went down, but what if?
I like that. I like the idea of this movie taking place in some random Marvel timeline.
Yeah.
Here it is some sort of like superhero.
If you see a guy in a cape going like this, like making like little, wax on, wax off circles near you, please be concerned.
Yeah, I should be very concerned. Oh, I just wanted to add to, Erin, you said that, after you first watched this movie, you listened to trans stories and read articles and everything. And I 100% agree. People should absolutely go do that. The little note that I jotted down while you and Carla were saying that was if you're a person that went out and read Black authors and shopped Black-owned stores during 2020 and the height of Black Lives Matter, then you can do the reading the articles, watching the videos for trans and LGBTQIA people to get that understanding, to kind of broaden your perspectives and everything. And I just think that, to kind of reach the performative whites. If you did it then.
If it helps make it easier for you, there are Black LGBTQIA plus people, and some of them own dogs. So that's all your favorite things.
I recommend Portia Noir. I mean, she's not trans, but she is queer, and I do recommend her. And she has cute dogs. So
there you go. You have a starting place. You're welcome.
There's just one. There's just one person you can listen to and follow and go support on Patreon and and get their amazing content. They're amazing. So and if you're a Grey's Anatomy fan, I've never really watched Grey's Anatomy, but they're a huge Grey's Anatomy fan. So there you go. There's
look at that. More of your favorite things.
Do they put ice in their white wine?
I have not seen that.
How did they feel about pumpkin lattes?
But I did geek out. And she's public about this, but she recently moved to Colorado, and I kind of geeked out because I've been a fan of hers from TikTok, and then going over to her Patreon and everything like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what if one day I run into her?
Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
She'd be like, get away from me. I'm like, it's like a celebrity sighting or something like that.
Yeah. I was going to say a celebrity moved to your town. Or
yes.
That's the way it felt. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
I get that. Oh, goodness. All right. Anything else? Any other stray bubbles? Anything we may have missed? Erin, you got anything? Anything else?
Look at these. I've got 20 different places I took notes. Sorry. And I can't read this note that I made. Oh. I do think it's interesting that there's so much breaking of the fourth wall and talking directly to the audience by Isabel. I think that's really an interesting tool that's used because sometimes that does not work. But I think it works so well in this because it's kind of like it's talking to the audience and trying to make the audience part of what you're showing, I think, and also saying, please pay attention to what we're saying as well. So I think it works on several different levels. And I think they were very successful with that. Sometimes that can be too gimmicky and not work at all. But I think it really, really works in I Saw the TV Glow.
Yeah.
I think that's all I had.
Okay. And Carla?
I have two quick things. One, and listen, this is going to sound crass and it's going to sound glib, but I promise you I do not mean it this way. I sincerely, okay. So when Isabel is moved to the fun, whatever place, arcade thing, her job is to restock the ball pit with balls. And to me, that's, this is the crass and glib thing. And I promise you, I'm not trying to be those things. I just really wonder, does that have anything to do with, constantly presenting on the daily mail, having to do that as your job, to have a job, to have that financial security? Because, and this is my second point, when she says it's time for me to become a man, and what she means by it, it's time to have a family. And what does that usually entail? Usually in the context of trying to fit into a particular way of presenting as a person, heteronormativity, and having, in her case, a wife and biological children. We don't see them, which I think is an interesting choice, and I actually appreciate that as a choice. But the idea that she had to do that to present as a man and then go work in a place where she has to restock balls for the ball pit, to me, that really stuck out as a detail. And in the moment, as I'm writing it down, I'm like, this is going to sound so bad. This is going to sound so messed up. But I promise you, I don't mean it that way. I just
the same
sincerely
idea in my head. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, cool. So I'm not the only one being like, oh God, please don't write me a diatribe about how glib I am about this.
Because I am a good girl.
Okay.
No. No, but I love it. I think you're absolutely correct and I didn't catch, because okay, so near the end and Isabel's opening the box, for the ball pits, and they're all mostly yellow. And then there's some of the pink and blue ones in there. Now, I don't know if there were pink and blue balls mixed in the ball pit prior, or if it was just all these yellow balls or whatever. So when I was watching it, I was kind of wondering if it wasn't seeing these different colored balls to all of a sudden kind of reminder oh, I'm not supposed to be here, because there was something in that moment of, wait a minute, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A slight kind of hesitation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That just tell you how trashy my brain is that it did not register the different colored balls. I was just like, balls, interesting. And right after she says that she has to be a man now, and here you are making the smart point and being like, oh yes, it's clearly evident in the colors of the balls in the ball container, and I'm just like, balls.
I mean, listen, that's me at Christmas with balls all over. Balls here, balls there. I love hanging the balls. But, and then, with the breaking of the fourth wall, what I really loved about that is at first you just thought it was Isabel or I guess Owen in this case, narrating his life, not really knowing kind of where this journey was going to take them yet. But then once Tara comes back and she's like, doesn't something feel off? Are you remembering things? How are you remembering things? Does it feel like you're narrating your own life? And then from there, I believe, is when Isabel starts speaking directly to the camera. And then I was just like, oh my God, we're in the nightmare realm. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So, but I agree. The narrating and the fourth wall breaking was very, very effective. And again, I don't think anything was by chance in this movie. I think it was all on purpose in a good way.
Yes.
All right. Well, if there is nothing else, we will go ahead and move on to the Midwest goodbye. And this is the beginning of the end. We've done our whelp knee slap and we're at the door and we're hanging out and hubby's going to go grab some to-go containers filled with tater tot casserole.
I knew you were going to say that.
In Erin's Discord, she had asked if Megan and I like tater tot casserole. I was like, I fucking love tater tot casserole. Don't even play with me. And now I can't stop thinking about tater tot casserole.
It's been a very potato-centric couple of days.
It has. I mean, I love potato. Anyway, that's not why. We'll do a potato podcast another time.
My potato bubble.
Maybe. Or I was thinking maybe the Great Debate Potato Wars or something.
Oh my God. Yes. I have my bracket ready.
Hell yeah. Oh God, we should do a potato bracket next year for instead of like March Madness. Anyway, I'm gonna stop.
Love it.
I know. Okay. So first up is the 6 Degrees of Nicolas Cage, and that's where we connect this movie to Nicolas Cage in 6 steps or less. Why? Why the fuck not? All right, who's ready? Who wants to? Oh, Erin. All right.
Oh, I was just raising my hand that I'm ready. I didn't know Carla wanted to go first, but I am ready.
No, that's what I meant.
I'm fine either way.
Okay.
I love mine because of who it ended up using at the end. So I used Jack Haven, who was in the show Atypical with Jennifer Jason Leigh, who was in The Machinist with Christian fucking Bale, who was in Captain Corelli's Mandolin with Nicolas Cage.
Nice.
I just liked that I got to use Nicolas.
Awesome.
Get Christian Bale for that.
Very good. And Carla?
I went with Fred Durst because maybe this will exercise him from my brain. Maybe like this will be like the final thing that finally just gets him out of there for good. So, and may I just say that this man has been in a previous piece of masterpiece cinema. Pauly Shore is Dead. With a gem of a human being, Charlie Sheen, who was in Never on Tuesday with Nicolas Cage.
Nice. Oh, very good. I love it. Well, I too went with Jack Haven, and they were in Bill and Ted Face the Music with William Sadler, who, while doing this, I learned was Dwight in the first season of Roseanne. So William said, I didn't fucking know that. I was like, what? So
I
my
love
whole
William Sadler so much.
I do too, but I was like, oh shit, he was Dwight. Fuck, I hated fucking Dwight.
I did too.
Oh, what a piece
We didn't
of
talk
shit.
about it during the episode, but I did
for
too. Yeah.
for reasons, because
He's so gross.
he's so gross. He was the worst. But yeah, so William Sadler was in Machete Kills with Danny Trejo, who was in Con Air with Nicolas Cage.
Yay, and Danny Trejo too.
Yay!
Sorry, I love Danny Trejo. So.
I do too.
I really want to try his donuts in his donut shop. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, I was gonna say the same thing. I thought it was because doesn't he have like tacos as well? Trejo tacos.
I
thought
think,
he had
yeah, but I know he did. Unless I'm mistaken, didn't he? He did open a donut shop, right?
I think
I thought so.
Because I think
It's
I've seen them on there. I'm
baked
like,
good.
oh
I
my
thought
gosh,
it was
those look
donuts.
amazing.
I think how good those would be. Oh shit. All right, and now on to what's been streaming in your bubble. So, Carla, what else have you been watching or reading? What you been up to?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've been watching a lot of, like deep, dark things. So I've gone to my happy place, which is Smosh, and just watched a lot of videos, a lot of Smosh content. And they played a board game about Love is Blind, the reality TV show. And they have like it's a small series. It's three times that they've played it, and they've divided into like 5 or 6 videos, and they're hilarious. They're so freaking funny. And so like I just those have kind of lifted my spirits over the past couple of weeks. I'm like, I need something funny. Let's put on Smosh. So yeah, that's kind of where my brain has been living on and off for like the past most of the month, to be honest.
Right on. And Erin?
Okay, before I talk about the thing that I'm really, really obsessed with, pun intended, just briefly want to just shout out Apple TV has some of the best shows that nobody's watching. Go watch Widow's Bay. It's fantastic. It's so good. It's really funny. I don't think it's scary, but it's got some horror elements to it. But it's just absolutely hysterical. And Matthew Rhys is just so good in it. And also Margot's Got Money Trouble on Apple TV is really, 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 really good. Nick Offerman, every performance in there is good, but Nick Offerman will break your heart and you'll also just love him. And the thing I'm most into is the movie Obsession, which honestly, I think a lot of horror movies recently have been overhyped, even if I've loved them. I really don't think this movie is overhyped. This movie is probably the best horror movie I've seen in a really long time. It started out, I was like, okay, this is entertaining enough. I don't know why everybody keeps saying this is such a special movie. And then it kept going. I'm like, oh my God, holy shit. And I almost cried watching this, which I have to see it again to unpack completely why. But Indy Navarrete, which I guess another Indy this year. Last year it was Indy the dog. But Indy Navarrete, who plays Nikki, who is, if you don't know, the basics of this story, which when you hear the basics, you're like, why would this be such a special movie, is about this character played by Michael Johnston, Bear, who is in love with Nikki. Or he says he's in love with her. Anyway, and he can't get up the courage. He's known her for 6 years, can't get up the courage to talk to her. And so he gets this one wish willow at this metaphysical type store. And when he has this one chance, he keeps having all these chances to say something and he doesn't. And then he says, I wish Nikki would love me more than anybody in the whole world, basically is what he says. And he breaks it. And then Nikki loves him more than anybody else in the whole entire world. And so you can kind of guess where that would go. So that's the premise. But what this movie is talking about is the nice guy trope, the dangers of the nice guy trope, because Bear is the nice guy. And it's a lot about body autonomy. So if that's triggering for you, sexual assault, everything like that. And it's just so well done. And the performances, Indy Navarrete as Nikki does some things with her body and her voice. And she has this scene with a smile that is she's so terrifying. Yet at the same time, you are really wanting to save her and protect her at the same time. But she does such an incredible performance because she has to play different sides of Nikki. And she's so good. It's one of the best horror performances I've ever seen. If there was any justice, she would be getting awards talk already, but that's never going to happen because this is, she does very horror things. And Michael Johnston is really good too. Everybody else is good. Andy Richter's briefly in here. So if people are fans of Andy Richter.
I love Andy Richter.
He's in this. And it was written and directed and edited by Curry Barker, who is a YouTube person who's big on YouTube. And I want to say, quit being fucking snobs out there, film people, and saying, oh, people on YouTube should not be given all to be able to make these big movies. This movie was made for $700,000 or something like that. And it's making a lot of money. His first horror movie, which is found footage movie, I haven't watched it, Jen, but it's called Breakfast or cereal, something, milk and cereal or something like that.
Okay.
And people are saying it's fantastic. That was made for $700. So shut up, people. And he also comes from comedy. And I think it's really interesting having a man do this movie with what it is talking about because of how important I think this movie is. And I think Gen Z has really been talking about this a lot. And I really encourage people to watch people's reaction, especially from people who identify as female and identify as women, because I think that is more of the important reaction to this personally. And everybody pretty much agrees with me. So, but there's so much to dissect in this. And sorry, I'll stop talking in just a second, but I have to do a whole episode on this because I don't know. It's just so, and the sound design, and it's like the score, like basically buries itself under your skin and then every once in a while pops out. Ugh. That's the way it felt to me. And that performance, just, I can't get over it. I will say, as a little bit of a spoiler trigger for people, so if you both don't care about knowing about animal stuff, so Bear's cat in the very beginning, he comes home and his cat is dead. It didn't bother me at all because frankly it looked like a little stuffed animal and stuff, but there's other stuff that happens with this dead cat and it's very disturbing. So if you want to know, look up on doesthedogdie.com or just look up spoilers for the cat, because there's some very, very disturbing things that happen with this cat. So I will put that out there. And also look up the other trigger warnings, especially self-harm and other stuff. So, yeah.
Erin, you really took us on a ride because you had me with Andy Richter, you had Jen with found footage horror, and you like shocked the both of us with cat? We're both like, what?
That's a cat.
But honestly, you never
we had the same face. It was so funny.
You never see the face of the cat, really, and you've never seen the cat alive, so I don't know, that kind of, I don't know. It didn't bother me, and I'm just saying, and I don't mean that as like I'm a cold-hearted bitch, but
you're just saying as a dog person,
I don't care about cats anyway.
I know. But no, I think it was because of how unreal it looked, which wasn't like something as a knock on the movie. It just, I know that's a big thing that people have a hard time with. So just putting that out there.
Awesome. Well, good to know. I'll keep that in mind when I do eventually watch it, because I will, don't worry.
I'm like, I need someone that I know to watch this movie so I can fucking talk about it with spoilers. No, because I'm dying to.
Oh, let's see. And I know you'll get there, and I know you'll just go when you do. And it'll be glorious. Let's see. I've just kind of been stuck in the world of just rewatches, comfort rewatches. So it's a lot. Like the other night, I rewatched Evil Dead 2013, the unrated. So just a little gorier and everything. And I do really like that movie. And I really like Evil Dead Rise as well. But I was like, I'm going to go with 13 because I really like Jane Levy, however it's pronounced. I think she's fantastic. So a lot of horror movies, that 13 Ghosts. I fucking love that ridiculous ass movie. That movie is so fucking dumb, but I can't help it. I love it. And a lot of it, it's always been the 13 Ghosts that I've always really drawn to. But I love Matthew Lillard in this. He cracks me up. He's kind of a dick, but then like he has moments where I kind of feel bad for him. But then he just goes back to talking shit to the ghosts. It's like, what are you doing? You're crazy. I love it. And a bunch of other stuff. But when I'm not rewatching those, and when I'm just doom scrolling on my phone, I always watch the Round Table Game Show. It's they have a YouTube channel and a TikTok page, and it's a group of Black women. They've gone on for like 6 seasons, and they all tell different jokes. And if you laugh, you're out. And then like their final round is, they got water in their mouth. So again, you laugh, you're out. And these women tell some of the most unhinged fucking jokes I've ever heard in my life. And I love them all so much. I show them to my husband. He's pointing to one of the girls and he's like, I like her. She's my favorite. She has the best facial expressions, T. And she does. She's always very animated when people start with like the line, and she's just the best reactions. But a lot of they're offensive. But, in that South Park way where they're offending everybody, all with the purpose of getting the other people to laugh. So I know that they do tours and have like a stage show because I've seen clips of that. Bev started telling the joke of like, what's a priest's favorite movie? And someone from the audience yelled Child's Play. And then one of the women on stage, they're like, can we laugh? Is it okay if we laugh if the audience says it? Because that was insane. I would love to go to one of their live shows. I would probably pee my pants laughing. But that has been my big dose of like serotonin, like happy, a good giggle, and some of the more offensive ones, especially the jokes about people with disabilities, I send to my friend with a disability, because that's what we do. We send offensive things to each other, and she loves it. So I have her okay, which makes it okay all around. I know, a disabled person. Sorry. Person with disability. Anyway. All right. That's going to do it for us today. I want to thank you, wonderful wild women, for joining me today. And Carla, if you want to go ahead and tell us about your podcast and where folks can find you.
Yes, thank you. You can find OK Real Quick wherever you found this podcast and also Pandora. And there's also social media. You can look for at OK Real Quick on your favorite social media, and we may be there, we may not. It's a fun hunt. Doesn't everybody like that? It's not Easter, and yet I'm here to give you a prize if you find it. I also have a website, carlatemis.com. That's CARLATEMIS.com.
Thank you. So make sure you guys check that out. And Erin, you want to go ahead and tell us about your podcasts?
It's a Fandom Thing. It is a podcast where we cover everything you can possibly think of: TV, film, music, and we also cover we do an episode called Pop Culture and Fandom News every Wednesday, and it's primarily from the female perspective, but I try to just have voices on that aren't just the normal voices that when people are have their generic feeling on podcasts. You know what I mean? But you can find our back catalog, over 666 episodes.
Nice.
On our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com. And there's also links to our Discord server there as well. And then I also co-host a bi-weekly podcast with Moth and Paula called It's a Dean Thing, where we talk about Dean Winchester, which just reminds me I forgot to do a social media post about the episode we just released. Anyway. And then, of course, Jen and I co-host Twin It to Win It. Where we twin it and we win it.
That's right.
Where we test our podcast brain twinniness. That's not on Pandora because of Jen.
Because of me. Because of me. And Pandora hates me and Asian straight women.
I was going to say, what does Pandora have against Asian women?
I don't know.
Just Asian straight women. Then.
Yes, Asian straight women. That's straightest. I don't know.
I'm sure there are people out there that actually believe that.
I'm
Probably. Sure. Yeah. God.
Where's our Pride Month?
Yep, that's exact. I've heard that exact phrase.
Wild.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's amazing when people don't fucking get it. It's fun to laugh at them. But yeah, our Erin and I podcast, Twin It to Win It, not on Pandora. My Streaming Bubble, not on Pandora. I can't fucking speak now. I am so distraught about not being on Pandora. Pandora, you fucking straightists. Anyway.
I love that's in my top 5 of most people listen to.
I love that you always bring that up too.
Because I laugh every time I see it.
I don't know. So I went and I turned email verification on through Podbean, and then I let it sit there for a couple of minutes because I'm like, I don't know, maybe it needs a minute. And I went back to Pandora and I tried to do it, and it still gives me the same fucking message. There's no email associated with this RSS feed. I'm like, you're lying. You're lying. So they are deliberately keeping me out by posting red text lies about what is and isn't attached to my RSS feed. But so yeah, you can listen to my on the socials. Okay, I'm sorry, that's bad. Thank you all for listening and keep streaming. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to let me know by rating and reviewing on a podcast player near you, and by sharing your favorite episodes with your friends, family, and mail carrier. Then be sure to follow me on all your favorite socials like Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Just search My Streaming Bubble and I should pop on up there for ya. If you have suggestions on what I should stream in my bubble next, or you want to be tolerated, send an email to mystreamingbubble@gmail.com. Looking for merch? Stop by my Redbubble store where you can find and buy My Streaming Bubble stickers, hats, shirts, and more. You can also head over to buymeacoffee.com and, well, buy me a coffee. Need more Podcast Me in your life? Then be sure to check out my other podcast, Twin It to Win It. That's a monthly podcast that I co-host with my podcast brain twin, Erin from It's a Fandom Thing, where we test our twinningness by trying to guess if we both feel the same way about different horror movies. You can find and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. And most importantly, you can listen, rate, review, and share from most podcast players. Thank you for your support and keep streaming. Goodbye.